Okay, let's take a look. All right. Yeah, so it is a little bit hard to see, as you said, with all the curves and joints on there. Um, let's take a look at Maya. So let me just do a short play blast. Let's just do what's normally 280. Let's just do to 40. So yeah, that's not happening to me with those showing up. So in your play blast options, I guess you can take those things off and turn that off. Um, I don't know. If they're not showing here, it shouldn't show up in the play blast. Make sure you're play blasting from the right window. You can also, if you've just hidden them using the show menu, you can actually try selecting them and hiding them with display hide selection. That would be something else to try. Selecting the curves and selecting the joints and hiding them. So those are a few things you could try. Let's take a look at this. Um, yeah, let's put this back so we see the whole thing. The walk is very sort of halting, like people walk at a more even pace. It should be pretty easy to fix. Hopefully, you use the root control. Let's take a look in the graph editor. So I think that's going to be the z direction. Yeah. Seems like that's just a tangent issue. It might fix with auto tangent because it looks like you used flat tangents. So if you use, which one's auto tangent? This one? Yeah. Even just that is going to make the walk a lot more even, but let's just take a look now. It's better. There's still kind of a halting nature to the arms and the feet, but um, just the way there's kind of like a weird sort of pause each step. It doesn't have a continuous thing. Um, yeah, and you made this more difficult on yourself with the X rotate. See, I wouldn't use that X rotate. I'm just going to delete all this out just as an example and just show you what I would be doing with the feet here. So, oh wow, that sure is sliding around a lot. So generally, one foot is stuck while the other one's moving, which you kind of don't have anywhere. So, and also she's floating above the ground, which is not so great. Um, but what I would, let's just, wow, and she's kind of floating up and down too. Like they're going up and down in a weird way, like kind of drifting up and down. Let's start with this step. Let's say here. So really what I would say is like, let's say it lands there, it should stay there while this other foot takes its step. And then this step should complete like here. So what you would do is set a keyframe here. I'm going to delete this keyframe. Although you'd want to get it properly planted on the ground, but and then let's go forward. Let's see. That one lands at, let's say, 91. So I'll go back here. I'll middle mouse click at 91 to make that update the time without updating the position. And see now how that foot sticks. Okay. And then you can animate the roll on that. So prior to it landing, I'll set a keyframe on the roll. And see, I'm not using the rotate X at all. And then when it lands, I'm going to have it, the roll's broken. How is the roll broken? Oh, that's no fun. It's weird that the rotate would work and the roll wouldn't, but that could be a weighting issue. Let's see what's happening with the joints when I try to use roll. That's broken. Oh, I've never seen that before. Very strange. Oh, oh no, I'm sorry. It's not broken. It's just the roll angle was set to 0. Normally by default it's set to 25. I think that's what's going on here. And let's get rid of all these roll keyframes. Come on. There we go. Now it should work. Oh, okay. That's what I was looking for. Alright, so what I was saying was, before it hits the ground, maybe starting, I don't know, here, we'll set a keyframe on the roll, and then right as it hits the ground, it's going to roll back a little bit. Okay, so it lands there, and then over the next couple frames or so, it'll go back to 0. Okay, so it lands, it snaps down to 0, and then at some point, maybe around here, we'll set a keyframe, and then before it lifts off, it's going to roll up. Okay, so roll back, snap down to the ground, roll up, and then again, and then by the middle, you might have this at 0 again, or depending on what you think. But see, this foot, while this one's in the air, this one needs to stick now too, right? So he lands here, let's say, and then I'll middle mouse click here, S, right? So that, oh, why is it still moving forward? S. Okay, hold on. Middle mouse, S. Okay, yeah, now it's sticking. Okay, and then you'll want to do the same roll thing with this one. Yeah, so let's delete any keyframes off those. Roll angle should be 25. Okay, so again, before, yeah, again, and I would lose all the rotate on there, because I would do all that rotate with the roll. So, yeah, maybe keyframe the roll before that foot lands, and then when it lands, roll it back over the next couple of frames, 0, and then should be planted, and then before this next one takes off, we'll keyframe it again, and then as it gets ready to take off, it will roll that up. Okay, so you see how those couple steps work. But I mean, the first thing to do is actually really make sure these feet are on the ground every time. They're touching the ground exactly every time, and really make sure that while one foot is in the air, the other foot is planted. It's not moving at all. You can't have both feet, because it has that kind of slippery, slidey look to it, like the kind of floating. So you see those, there's like a couple steps. Yeah, and that is just, the timing of that isn't believable. And I think the big thing you need is a pose where, she really winds up to get ready for this. So like she kind of builds up some. Oh, and you should really use an IK in this position to get the arm to, really stick on there. Because otherwise you're not going to be able to make it stick. So let's look at that really quick. So maybe starting here, I'm going to start transitioning to, I don't know, maybe here actually, I'll start transitioning to IK mode. So I'm going to delete any keyframes off of this and set a keyframe on the FK IK blend. And yeah, maybe by the time we get to here, we will be in IK mode. Okay. So between here and here, it transitions from FK to IK, and then I'm going to grab this thing, snap it to this pole. Although she can't reach it just yet, so maybe let's just move that back here, move that here. Okay, and that can be like the first keyframe. I've deleted all the other ones. So now it'll transition from IK to FK, and we want it to be on the pole now, I think. So her root is going to need to be much further forward to reach that. So which means her feet will need to be further forward too, actually. Which is already a more believable starting point. And fingers curled around this. Do you ever do? Oh, okay. You just do that. It seems like a little late. Oh, that's only because she pulls back a bit too far, but so she's getting low to kind of build up some momentum. And I guess as long as her hand's on there, she shouldn't she shouldn't be on the reach of the arm. And you've got some fractional keyframes in there. Well, the hand placement wasn't that great to begin with. So this is going to be much stronger if the hand stays placed on the pole for most of it. Maybe by here, set a keyframe here, and then by here, the hand's lifting off because she's like released. But if that, obviously there's a lot of stuff to fix on the feet there, but I think if you transition to IK hand, that's too quick. Might just get rid of that one. So the point is, it's going to be much better if the hand's planted, because the whole action pivots around this pole. But you'll really need to get into the detail of these get those feet placed right in the beginning. Make sure her root stays close enough to the arm that it keeps at least a little bit of a bend in it at all times as she's pivoting around this. And then kind of study your reference and really get those poses working. So get the feet to stick when she's walking, or lose the walk. You don't need the walk. It's plenty without the walk. This is a hard enough thing to do. If you just did, like if you started the whole thing, well, it's being funny about its update, but if you started the whole thing here, like a frame 140 or whatever, that would be great. If you could just get this to look awesome, you'd have a great animation. So you could just skip the walk. You don't need the walk. Just focus on this and make this great.